Hello everyone, welcome back to Risk of Rain. My name is Best Friend Skull, and you guys voted. Today we're taking the sniper into Rainstorm. Well, if you want to be nice to me, that's fine. Now in the previous episode, and many times thereafterwards, I've said that the sniper is the worst class in the game. As a quick note, I do consider this mostly an opinion, but I find it hard to disprove. Now, that's not to say the sniper is a terrible class. He's bad. But that's in comparison to everyone else. I consider this game to be a fairly well-balanced game as far as the class structures go, and the sniper in co-op is absolutely amazing. Solo, he's the only class in the game I would consider to actually be worse than okay. Now, I should probably go into how the sniper works before I go into how I don't think he's that great. The sniper has 4 attacks, just like everyone else. Well, more accurately, he has 2 attacks, and then 2 tools, so to speak. First off, we have our basic shot. The basic shot has a bit of a gimmick to it. Whenever I fire it, you'll see that a little bar appears beneath me. This bar is sort of one of those timing mini-games. If you can get it within the white, then he deals extra damage. If you can get it within the light purple, he deals extra damage, but not as much as if you got it in the white. And if you don't get anything, he doesn't get any extra damage at all. This is called reloading. And you have to do this before you use either of his attacks. This pretty much kills his attack speed dead. His other attack is steady aim. You'll see it, I'm using it right there. Steady aim, you have to stand completely still to use, and it will shoot out a power shot. If you fully charge it, it does 4,000% damage. As I think you can see, this character does an insane amount of damage just in general. But there's an issue that I'll get to in a second. Another one of his tools is the backflip. The backflip is almost identical to the Commando's dodge roll, except it goes backwards. And then there's the spotter. And the spotter is meant to be one of his main tools, and it does work most of the time. What it does is it highlights one enemy on the map, well, that's nearby enough to you to count for it, and shows you its health, and allows you to critical hit it any time that you hit it at all. Combine this with steady aim, and you've got quite the power shot going. Add that onto the perfect reload. If you perfect reload, have the thing spotted, and steady aim it for a full charge, that will pretty much almost kill a boss in one hit in most cases. Welcome to what the sniper is meant to be, the boss killer. The issue with the sniper is that, while he's supposed to be the boss killer and all that kind of stuff, he does that job rather well. The issue is that he legitimately almost sucks at damn near everything else. Namely, one of the big ones being crowd control. Steady aim, while it does pierce, it lowers its damage for each subsequent enemy it hits. Thus, it pretty much loses its real effectiveness against anything except for a boss. Meanwhile, that is what he's meant to be able to do. You'll be able to see that this Colossus here is taking an immense amount of damage from me because I'm perfect reloading almost every shot, and he's constantly being critted, and now he's just dead. So, I can understand why it is that there's a misinterpretation as far as the sniper goes, that he's somehow really, really good. The thing is that, to start off with, the spotter is a bit on the buggy side. If you pay attention throughout this episode, there are several occurrences where I use the spotter, meaning for it to go for something, and it turns out that there's an enemy off-screen that is apparently more powerful, and thus it highlights that instead. Now, there is the option afterwards to then switch its target. The issue is that the only thing the target will switch to is to something that is more powerful than what's already being highlighted. So essentially, if there is, like, a boss way off to the left of you that isn't threatening you at all, but there's an elite right in your face, the spotter will just go off and select the boss anyways. It's really difficult to handle properly. Now here I'm just quickly collecting some stuff and making my way off. Another slight issue with the sniper is the fact that he doesn't synergize well with most items. Out of the items that we have currently, he doesn't synergize well with the meat nugget, he doesn't synergize well with the concussion grenade, he doesn't synergize well with permafrost. Those are all on-hit items. And due to the fact that his attack speed is basically nothing in comparison to everyone. Like, even the Enforcer, when he doesn't have his shield down, fires faster than the sniper does. It doesn't synergize well with the sticky bomb either. That said, he does synergize very well with one item that we have, and that is the crowbar. Because usually he'll manage to damn near one-shot a lot of things when he actually gets the chance to shoot them. The Will-o'-the-Wisp also synergizes well with him, because he usually, as I said, does kill things. Now this is what I mean right here, when I said the spotter can be pretty much useless in certain cases. And also about the lack of crowd control. With almost any other class right now, I would be having next to no problem with all of these fuckers, but as the sniper, I could barely deal with them without taking a crap ton of damage. And so this is essentially where he falls apart, is when you're dealing with masses of small things instead of one big thing. Now, generally speaking, when you're playing as the sniper, you want to get the perfect reload, but if you don't let it affect you too much. It's not that big of a deal. Eventually you'll get the timing down, because it's actually fairly steady as far as how it goes. And also, as a quick note, it is better to get a improper reload than to wait it out for it to go back and get the timing. It's all rhythm, pretty much. Once you get the rhythm down, it's pretty easy to do, actually. Cut that out. Now, another thing that's worth noting with him is that his drone synergy is actually fairly good, save for in one way. He does, technically speaking, have the highest damage stat in the game, because he actually has an extra damage stat added on to his regular damage stat. Thus, he gets pretty insane damage. But he just can't apply it well. To anything more than one thing, that is. But, hey, you've just kind of got to learn to deal with that in a way. Like, even that was more troublesome than it should have been, those 4 wisps that pop out of the Ancient Wisp. Like, anyone else would have had an easier time with that. Another thing that's worth noting with him is, I currently have an item that is a use item called Prescription. What Prescription does is it is for 8 seconds after use, it ups your damage and your attack speed. Which is okay. Like, honestly, I'd say it's one of the weaker use items in the game, but that's just me. But the thing is that it's a good example of one of the ways that the sniper just doesn't work well. Because if your attack speed goes up, your charge speed for steady aim goes up as well, which is great. However, it also changes the timing for your perfect reloads, which makes it incredibly difficult, particularly if you have something like the energy cell, where its attack speed increase depends on how low your health is, so it'll constantly be changing your timing. It doesn't work well at all. Like, it actually actively hurts him in certain cases. Another fucking concussion grenade. Now, we did get one item that is great for the sniper. I saw in the thread that some people were posting solo monsoon runs with the sniper. I've done those. Like, as I said, he's not that bad. Just in comparison to the rest of the cast, he's terrible. We got the Rusty Jetpack. And the Rusty Jetpack is absolutely spectacular for the sniper, because later on, your only real method of dealing with crowds is to jump back and forth shooting at them. And having more aerial control is great. I just nearly charged that steady aim to half with a perfect reload, and I couldn't even kill a black imp. This is another thing, is that his damage stat is supposed to be great, but in a lot of cases, it just falls flat of where you actually need it to be. I have nothing more to say on that one. Another thing about him is that he's actually pretty squishy. Like, he can't actually deal with taking a lot of damage all at one time. And, again, criticaled, half-charged steady aim, perfect reload, didn't kill a sand crab. It just falls flat on mobs. It's great at killing bosses, but on mobs, it just... nothing. It doesn't work well. But I'm going to get off that topic for a little bit. And kind of screw up here. Actually, I'm going to show off something here. Yeah. Not sure why that happens. I think it's like trying to find a location to put you, and it just sort of decides to put you in the worst place possible. If you can actually get in between that and like just going directly downwards, then sometimes you can actually manage to respawn up above in that tunnel, but beyond the rope, instead of behind the rope. It's actually a bit of a wacky time-saving tactic that I use every now and then, and fail at most of the time. Now, right here, I want to take a quick second to note how to use steady aim. Because the issue with steady aim is that you do have to stand still to use it. And standing still in this game, as I'm sure anyone who's played it, and anyone who's watched the previous episodes knows, is generally speaking a death sentence. How do you go about using this is essentially that you have to use it in such a way that you will not wind up getting killed by it. Because it will wind up murdering you in a lot of cases if you just use it willy-nilly. In order to play the sniper well, you have to know how to place your backflips and your steady aim. Generally speaking, backflipping straight into steady aim will actually give you a decent amount of leeway as far as how long it'll take you before you actually get your shot off. And since you have to kind of time it in such a way that you don't wind up getting mauled, it'll give you a bit of extra charge. Now, I said earlier, but kind of forgot to go over, how he synergizes well with drones. When I went over how handy synergizes with drones, I said how he had really high damage and really high health. The sniper does not have really high health. He's very squishy. Like, almost acrid levels of squishy. The thing is that his damage stat is extremely high, and therefore the drones get that damage. And thus, his drones deal more damage than anyone else's in the game, period. But, again, low health kind of causes some problems now and then, particularly if you can't find a place to position yourself. Because that's a big thing with the sniper, is that you have to find places to position yourself so that you can get your steady aim off properly. Like, I'm about to go over here and just, like, completely opt out of going directly into them and just steady aim them instead. Then I fast-forwarded. Oops. I fast-forwarded past getting this, but we do have the Imp Overlord's Tentacle this time. I pronounced it right. Now, it actually... I said in the Handy Challenge that it's almost entirely useless, and it is normally. Well, it is on one stage. On the final stage, a little imp you get, he doesn't work at all. During these stages, the earlier stages, the ones that aren't quite as big, he mostly operates properly. He's not very useful, but he's at least works. So, take that as you will. We also got an old box in the last stage. And the old box is absolutely great for the sniper. Because every now and then, you'll get into one of those situations where you wind up taking damage and you're charging a steady aim, and you don't wind up... Fuck. And you don't wind up realizing it, and this thing it fears the enemy so that they wind up going away from you so that you can actually get your steady aim off properly. Anyways, Cremator. Now, the Cremator, for the sniper, is still a problem. He's not as much of a problem as he is for, say, the miner, any melee class, or handy, because that was troublesome. But he is still a pretty big problem, because there were some notes that happened in the thread that I did already know, but I didn't get the chance to note in the previous video. And that's that the Cremator cannot take damage from his back, whatsoever. So you have to pretty much face off against him as any class, period, that doesn't have really good AoE attacks that focus around them. Essentially, that's how Handy winds up ignoring the fact that he has a shell on his back, is that he just punches, and it usually winds up finding the thing's face. In the case of the sniper, you actually have to pretty much stare down the Cremator while he's coming at you in order to steady aim him properly. You have to just look him straight in the eye while you charge up. Or I guess take aim. Now, another thing worth noting, and this is something that you can do against a Cremator, is that technically his underside is a weak point. He'll take more damage if you hit him down there. Most enemies in this game have a weak point, but it's relatively hard to calculate where it is and hit it. And in all honesty, I'd say just beat the crap out of them in most cases. But the Cremator has one on his underside, which means you have to go into the lava in order to hit it. Which is, needless to say, much more complicated and much more damaging to you than it's worth. Another thing to note about the Cremator is that his projectiles have a hitbox throughout their life. So they don't just have one when they explode, they also have one if they go through you. But he's dead now. Thank God for that. Now, the Imp Overlord's Tentacle is still going to work fine on this stage, by the way. It's really only the last stage, and every now and then the Desolate Forest, that he really malfunctions. Now, fortunately enough, I have gone through this at a speedrun pace, and of all the classes in the game, the Sniper is the one where you probably have to do that the most. Because if he gets overcrowded, then he will just fall apart and won't be able to do anything about what's going on. Now, we also have 2 flamethrower drones, which actually come in very handy for the sniper, because they essentially allow him to deal damage to whatever is in front of him, and thus, when he's steady aim charging, they'll occasionally stun the things trying to hit him. It comes in pretty damn handy at times. Now, right there, I'm just positioning myself so that I can do that. And we got the ATG Missile Launcher X2. The thing is that would be great, again, for almost any other class. That thing, I think, for the rest of this entire playthrough, goes off maybe 10 times. Because I just don't fire enough. Because I'm the sniper. Another thing is that the sniper versus an archer bug, he can barely even hit the things, because his only method of dealing damage is a directly horizontal plane. He isn't like, say, Handy, where he gets, like, a little bit above and a little bit below. He's not like the Miner, where he gets like, a full thing in front of him. He's not even, like, Acrid. He's not even, like, Acrid, in that he just can't actually really deal with them. He's gotta rely on his drones, like, there was someone in the thread that wound up saying, after the Handy video, now to do a solo Monsoon no drone sniper run. And my answer to that is no. No, the archer bugs will actually murder me. I wouldn't be able to feasibly do that, because I wouldn't be able to take care of those things. Ever. they'd pretty much just swarm me and wind up making me die a horrible and slow death. Now, he does make a joke of bosses. Like, that is not something that's up in the air. He just doesn't really care about bosses at all. Like, I actually frequently pretty much ignore them almost, and also fuck up backflips. Because he can take care of them with almost too much ease. But everything else fucks him over. I don't know what else to say on that one. As far as the archer bug things go, some of you may be thinking, what about the commando? What about the bandit? They can't really deal with the archer bugs either. They only fire on a horizontal plane. Both of them fire a friggin' ton more quickly. The bandit actually fires really fast, and also he has his dynamite, which will allow him to deal AoE damage to the things if that thing should manage to contact them, which, considering its activity in the air, actually is pretty likely. The commando has suppressive fire, which will just allow him to essentially stand still and inevitably wind up hitting at least one of them. And probably by that point he's got ATG missile launchers that are firing off all over the place. But the sniper he doesn't have something. And that's his issue, is that he lacks damage tools. He can deal a lot of damage, but he doesn't have any tools to actually allow him to just deal regular amounts of damage. Now, I'm going to be speeding up almost all of the contact light from here on out. We've all seen it at this point, and also, its frame rate lags for me. And so speeding it up is actually pretty much putting it at a regular frame rate. And also, just, I know that excluding you guys from the music is kinda, well, it hurts me a little bit, I will admit, but it's something I've gotta do for the sake of pretty much video length. Because I spend a while here this time around. Now, again, we get the plasma chain, and the plasma chain is almost freaking useless for the sniper. And now, of course, the tentacle's dead. That thing, he's up there. I believe that I actually, will jump up and down and show where he currently is to you in, a couple of seconds here. Yep, there he is, slashing up that, red clayman. And I think that's probably going to be pretty much the last we see of him. Oh, nope, there he is. Well, whatever. He's pretty much irrelevant at this point. Also, we got the area to generate in a bit of a different way this time around. The only actual reason that I opened up that door, because I didn't have to, as you can see, I'm totally ignoring it. The only reason I opened up that door was because I wanted to grind enough to get what was in that room. And this is something that I recommend doing with the sniper, just in general. Because the sniper, even though he's supposed to deal all of this damage and be a boss killer and so forth, he's not very good at Providence, really. He can't... In order to deal out that damage, he has to take the time to do a steady aim. And when you take the time to do a steady aim, then Providence just teleports in front of you and slices your face open. And he does that almost all of the time, or he'll be doing his, little hand thing to make it so that everything explodes around you, and all of those things just make that boss complicated as hell for this character to beat. And I almost want to do a droneless run to see if it's possible with the sniper, because the sniper would probably have a slightly harder time of it than... Well, actually, he'd probably have about the same time of it as Handy did. Because using steady aim on Providence is damn near impossible in a lot of cases. Or at least fully charging it against Providence. And also, at this point, I could fully charge steady aim against, an Archaic Wisp, a Clayman, even, at this point, and hit it directly in the face, and it won't kill the thing. Like, these things' health has just outpaced your damage at this point, and it's hard to deal with. And I got another ATG missile launcher Mark II, and I can't friggin' use it. And also I got Thallium, which is pretty much useless, and I got a Plasma Chain, which is pretty much useless, and admittedly, the Mitosis would be okay if I had a better use item, and the Repulsion Armor actually is pretty good. That's actually pretty useful. Same with the Ukulele to a certain extent. Also, I should go over how this character synergizes with items in general, because items in general can kind of be separated into about 6 different categories. Those categories would be on hit, on kill, on damage, on crit, and passive. In the case of the sniper, he only really synergizes with 3 of those, because of course anyone synergizes with passives. But he really synergizes well with on-kill and on-crit items. We have something called the Harvester's Scythe, and the Harvester's Scythe restores 8 HP to us every time we get a critical hit. Of course, if we're using the Spotter, that makes it so that we inevitably get a critical hit, so we're always healing every hit for 8 HP. This is just generally good. Another one we can get, we don't have it, but the Wicked Ring. The Wicked Ring makes it so that every time you crit, all of your cooldowns are reduced by 1, except for your use item. Of course, that would wind up being useful as heck. I mean, the Spotter, of course, doesn't get very much out of it, because the thing with the Spotter is that, it's, due to its ability to switch target, its cooldown doesn't actually, start up until the thing it's targeted is either dead or you recall it. And then it's 10 seconds after that, which is friggin' terrible. And so, that inevitable crit thing will not affect the Spotter's cooldown at all. However, it will make it so that you can pretty much use steady aim whenever the hell you want. And the backflip is frequently procced over and over and over again. Now, right about here, I think it is when I start to do a bit of a different thing. So I wouldn't recommend what I'm about to do, actually, because I'm trying to test a bug. I'm trying to test how this bug works. Because someone in the thread mentioned after the Handy video, the first one, how the glitch happens where Handy can't get through a keycard door. And they mentioned that apparently by going around to every single one and opening it up, that will allow you to unlock the next keycard door in sequence. So I'm grinding a little bit here, mainly because because I don't have another keycard right now, but I want to test this out because I know that this winds up. Well, at this point, actually, I was testing to see if it winds up happening with the sniper as well as with Handy, and the answer is it does. I'll just tell you that now. So I'm trying to test it out, and I come up here, and no, I can't use it. I can't use the keycard. So I decide instead to go up here and test out this fix that apparently happens. So I'm going to go check the armory, because the armory is the other one that usually bugs out, and sure enough, it's bugged. So I'll go and check the warehouse, or storage. And essentially, at this point, this is not me playing well, this is me trying to get this whole thing to work. Which is bothersome, I will admit. Like, this is a bug that does need to be fixed, and I really hope they do fix it at 1.2. And due to this, like, I got another keycard there, which is good. I will admit that due to this, the Providence fight winds up being a lot more difficult than it should have been. Because I don't really get all that much out of doing this. And I kind of want, and I would actually be, like, right about now, actually, going into Providence if I wasn't doing this. So, just for anyone who's planning on doing a run as the sniper, don't do what I'm doing right now. Eventually, in the Monsoon video for this character, I will show off what to, actually do. And I just picked up a new use item, the Shield Generator. The Shield Generator is something that's unlocked with Handy, and unlocking it was inside of the achievement video. But it's relatively useful. It makes you invincible for 8 seconds after using it, and its cooldown is actually relatively short. As the sniper, this allows you to fully charge a steady aim, which can be invaluable at times. Right now I don't have any keycards, so I'm just kind of grinding here and getting the items that happen to be lying about. And thus I sped this up to a significant degree. But one thing that's worth noting, I just got the energy cell. If you remember what I said before about the energy cell, how it's pretty much the worst item in the game, period, to get as this character, I have 2 of it, and that makes it even worse. I would recommend never picking up this item in this game at all, if you can avoid it. Because it will just make it so that you pretty much never get a perfect reload unless you're at full health. Fortunately enough, I have some Guardian Hearts to offset it, but I'm not going to do that great. Now, fortunately enough, a while ago we got a gasoline, and then we got another gasoline, and then we got another gasoline, and then we got another gasoline. Which actually, for the sniper, is pretty good. Because if you can lay down those fire things, then you can actually make it so that steady aim becomes an okay crowd control option. I mean, it's certainly not great. It's never going to be great. Crowd control is essentially what the sniper sucks at, and it's what makes him bad, in my opinion. Initially, I wasn't actually planning on going up this thing and going in here, but due to the decision to try out this keycard glitch, I decided to go up here anyways, just to explore around, because I was actually initially planning on making this into kind of a speedrun of sorts, but due to testing this out, I just was like, okay, well, this isn't gonna work, so frig it. Let's just go over here and collect a bunch of ukuleles. And now I've got my last keycard, so I'm just sort of taking care of whatever the heck's in front of me and making my way over there. And so it fixed that one, and yep, it fixes the cabin. Okay, so there's a fix for it. If you want to get in the cabin or into the armory, there's the way to do it. And this thing just bugged out. I've never actually had this happen before, but it just sort of bugged out and placed itself over there instead, and the Jar of Souls is not anywhere near as good as the shield generator for someone who's just about to go into Providence, so no, I'm going to opt out of that. And so I grabbed another repulsion armor, and I did this, I kind of made a mistake there, but I'm gonna go over here and, nope. Well. Give it a second. I'll get this one day. There we go. And now, dance party. Interrupted by a jellyfish. Friggin' jellyfish. Always crashing the party. Anyways, dance time. Friggin' god damn it. Jellyfish hate the funk. Oops. Oops. Well, anyways. That made me want to die, so... Oh, there we go. As a quick note, the song that was playing in there isn't on the soundtrack for the game. You can find it within your audio files if you go into your program files and so forth. It is called Hit It, Son. So, there's that. Anyways, I think it's about time to make our way off to Providence, and this time around we have all of the reinforcements and so forth. So, this shouldn't be too hard. I mean, I don't have a glowing meteorite to go and completely screw over the worms, but it should still be okay. And another preemptive shot. I will admit I love doing that. So, Providence as the sniper. As I mentioned before, just don't bother with steady aim on this guy. Most of the time. There is the occasion where he leaves himself open to it. Namely when he does that. Like, I would actually recommend, when he does the fire attack, to actually jump over it right towards him, and in midair, start up your steady aim charge. And also, I have 4 rusty jetpacks right now, and there's a dumb little thing you can do with 4 rusty jetpacks in Providence. This also works with the photon jetpack, for those of you that are curious. And that's that when he starts to... I think I'm about to do it here, actually. When he starts to teleport, if you jump over there, you can trick him into teleporting onto the top platform. The platform above you. Which is really silly, I will admit. But, heck, if it's in there, I'm gonna use it. And... as we can see, Providence is almost dead, but that's due to the fact that I have the shield generator. I used the shield generator earlier on to get a full charged steady aim off on him. And getting a mildly charged steady aim off on him, one after, say, the fire attack, or after those, or during those explosive things, that's probably good enough to deal a decent quantity of damage to him. Now the worms. I didn't face off against a magma worm this time around, so I didn't get the chance to show off another bug with the goddamn spotter. But here it is again. But here it is now. That is. For one thing, the spotter's identifying these guys as the magma worm. For whatever reason. I'm not totally sure why that is. And another fun fact, if you get these guys as monster log, it's the magma worm. For one reason or another, the game just recognizes these guys as the magma worm. In a lot of cases. In any case, notice how it's only highlighting the red worm's butt? That's because every segment of the worm, and the magma worm, count as a different entity. This includes the spotter. So only if I hit that worm on his butt will it count for a crit. Not only that, but remember how when I went up against the magma worm as Acrid, how he de-infected himself? He will also de-spotter himself. So, fortunately enough, these guys stay on screen, so, but it's still pretty friggin' annoying. But now we're on to the third form here. And this is about the only time that I will say this, aside from for one other class. Take care of these temple guards first. They will cause you immense amounts of trouble for the rest of this fight when you're the sniper. Essentially, his lack of crowd control options makes this friggin' difficult as hell as it is due to the shadow getting in your way constantly. But those things just add on even more difficulty to it, and anything to get rid of that is a blessing. Now, fortunately enough, we can deal a lot of damage to Providence right now. The inevitable crit, all of that kind of stuff, actually makes it so that he takes a decent amount of damage from just being shot in general. And that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not bothering to charge, I'm not bothering to do anything like that. I'm just standing right in front of him in order to just deal as much damage while my use item is still active. Something that I want to quickly take a second to note is that the extra damage that you get from doing a perfect reload, it does not apply to Providence the same way that the poison or so forth damage from acrid does, because it counts differently, and it just does 2. But there we go. I was relatively happy with that run. Didn't go as fast as I would have liked, but we unlocked a new character. But we unlocked a new character. In fact, we actually unlocked, 2. And that makes all of the characters in the game available. Unfortunately, I lost the footage of me unlocking the Huntress, and I've done enough save editing on this game at this point that, I'm just kind of tired of it. So, to unlock her, 15 monster logs. All you need. Done. Anyways, I'll put up the vote soon. It's been a pleasure serving with you for this last bit. And I'll see y'all next time.